This is Seattle, Washington. The XP11 version of Seattle, Washington. It's the wonderful new Dreswicki Designs Seattle XP scenery, along with the Seattle Tacoma International Airport, also by Dreswicki Designs. If you're out there and you're running XP11 on an iMac like me, you know it's imperative, it's critical. You have to make compromises. Frame rate, I mean, if you want to run this scenery on an iMac with XP11, with any kind of add-on aircraft, like the Zibo especially is really tough on frame rates, you're gonna have to compromise. For me, anti-aliasing and texture quality, they take a big hit. If you're lucky, you can run 2 times anti-aliasing. Shadows, forget it. Total number of world objects, you're going to medium. Or high, not medium, but high. Not maximum, the one right below it, high. A high number of world objects, and that'll get you close to the finish line. Good enough to fly. The majority of the world has not enough computer and way too much flight sim. It's even the best flight sim setups that's the case. So for as far as iMac goes, 30's about as good as it gets. 30 frame rates, you're in flight sim heaven. What you see here is XP11 on an iMac. We're running the Payware Oregon Washington terrain mesh. We've got the SeaTac International Airport by Dreswicki Designs. Then we've also got Seattle XP, the other Payware Dreswicki Designs scenery add-on. So we're running a lot of scenery here. We've got an add-on aircraft. It's the FlyJsim 727-100. The best part about flying the FlyJsim aircraft is the frame rates are lovely. They really run smooth, especially the 727 because they did not model the interior passenger cabin. You're adding at least 10 frames a second to your simulation, and that's why I love flying old school vintage aviation. And if you know anything about the Dreswicki Designs, if you've been running this scenery package, it's very, very glitchy. It has elevation issues. Occasionally you'll be on final 1-6 right on the ILS in the Zibo, and right over the numbers, just bonk. It's like you hit a brick wall.
Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 1400 overcast. Temperature dew.5. Altimeter 2975. Arriving runways 16 left, 16 center, 16 right. Departing runways 16 left, 16 center, 16 right.
There's the weather. 1,400 foot ceiling. Broken clouds. Off and on rain. Kind of building storms. There's our beautiful aircraft, the 727-100 by FlyJsim in. Yeah, we'll say it. The #1 very best livery, the Northwest Orient 70s paint scheme. Look at that beautiful bird. There's way more people out there in the world that need the tutorial, so I'm going to give this a tutorial bias for anybody out there that wants to fly old aircraft like the 727. That the systems are so antique and antiquated, it's hard to... If you're used to flying Zibos and modern NG kind of aircraft, it's very hard to go back to this, but if you grew up flying this stuff, if you're old like me and you flew this before the NG was even around, then it's, you know, second nature.
Cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
But as we take a look at the basic checklists that come with the aircraft,
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
we prepare to be transported back in time, back to the year 1977. We're also going to get a glimpse into the world of 1993.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
In this episode of FlyJsim Time Machine, we take you back, all the way back, to the glory days of aviation. Clear for start checks. Beacon is on, galley power's off, packs are off, start pressure 20 plus PSI's in, and looking good. And here we go.
Connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Prepare for 1993.
Back, and you may start engine.
This is the actual 1993 Northwest safety presentation video. I'll sit back and enjoy.
They set a goal and they aim it high. They do it better than the other guy. Some people just know how to fly.
A lot of things have changed since Northwest Airlines began flying in 1927. But for more than 65 years, one thing has stayed exactly the same. Your safety and comfort are our top priority every time we fly.
Some people
Operation
just know
complete. Set parking brake.
how to fly.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
The 47,000 people of Northwest Airlines just know how to fly. And you can too. Just keep watching for some very important safety information.
People, some people just know how to fly.
You wouldn't have actually seen this on the 7.2,
Preparation for takeoff.
but
Please
you know,
be certain
it's kind of
that
a,
your
it's a good
seatbelt
look
is
back
upright
into the
and
world
tray
in
table is in its stowed
1993.
position. Also, make
Tow is
sure carry-on
disconnected
luggage
and
fits
bypass
securely
pin has been
underneath the
removed.
seat in
Hand
front of you
signal will
or
be
in
on
the
the left.
overhead
We'll see you
bins.
next time. Have a
Retrieving
safe
items
flight.
from the overhead bins, please open them carefully, as some shifting may occur during the course of the flight. There's a safety instruction card in each seat pocket, and we encourage you to use this card to follow along
Starting
as
number
we
2.
point out the important safety features
Watching
of
the-
this aircraft. Your seatbelt must be fastened whenever the sun is illuminated or when you have to fly.
Fuel comes in.
Insert the flat metal end onto your lock securely. Tighten the belt buckle on the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift up on the top plate of the buckle. When the seatbelt sign is
salute.
turned off, you're free to leave
Ground
your
equipment
seat.
is clear.
However, we'd like to recommend that you keep your seatbelt
2
fastened
started.
while
Going ahead and start
in
number
dark
1.
cabin, floor-mounted emergency path lights will lead you to these exit locations. Please take a moment
First,
now
the
to
N2
locate
spins
the
up
exits nearest you,
once it hits
keeping in mind that
roughly
your nearest
20%,
exit may
depending on the
be behind you.
temperature and if
We're
it's
pleased to
warm or
announce
hot
that
start.
on today's flight, we'll
Right
offer
around
you a
20 though
smoke-free
is a
environment.
general rule.
Please note that the no smoking signs will be illuminated
Yeah.
throughout the aircraft for the
The
duration
old start
of
lever.
this flight. Please do not tamper
Fuel
with,
is introduced.
disable, or destroy smoke
The oil pressure
detectors,
starts rising.
as This is a violation of federal regulations. Cabin pressure is adjusted by the
That's
altitude of our flight.
what
If there's a
people
loss of
looked
pressure,
like
remain
in
seated.
1993.
The panel opens automatically and oxygen masks appear.
A
Pull
lot
mask
of
towards you to
bangs.
start
Everybody
to
had
flow oxygen.
bangs back
Place
then.
the elastic band around your head, covering your nose and mouth with a mask, tightened by pulling on the ends. Secure your own mask before assisting others. Although the bag may not seem
This is the
full-fledged,
video you'd see on the
oxygen will be
7.5
flowing to the
primarily.
mask. In the event of evacuation, move quickly to an exit
Just 'cause they had the video
Slide,
screens.
leaving all carry-on luggage behind. Upon reaching the bottom, move immediately
Jump.
toward the plane. Your seat bottom
Jump.
cushion serves as a life preserver in the event of an overwater evacuation. To remove, grasp the back of the cushion, pulling up and forward.
Flight controls, free and correct. They had a partnership with KLM, so for a long time it was, at the end there, it was Northwest KLM. And then, eventually, Delta got them. After start checks, ground equipment, we gave a salute, they're clear. Fuel is set. Generators are on. We are ready to taxi.
535, clear ground, proceed via Alpha to cargo 6 and contact the Northwest.
So at this point, running the takeoff checks, just running through them real quick. It's not very cold out, so we don't have the anti-ice. Just make sure the essential things are where they should be. Speed brake is, not up or deployed. You've set the stabilizer trim. That's the main thing everybody forgets, or at least I forget all the time. And flaps, pretty hard to forget those, but sometimes you do. Galley power, hydros, fuel heat, pretty much always off. APU comes off. At this point, you should have 3 generators on. You're running your takeoff checks. You've got your EPRs, your VREF card all set. You've decided what you're going to use, how much flaps, and voila, we go for takeoff. This is World Traffic 3 for the AI aircraft, with also live ATC, provided by live ATC, running in the background, and also synced to the flight. So wherever you're at, that's what you're listening to, right? Right now we're on Seattle ground, and when you hear the radio, that's wherever we are. If we're on with the tower, we're departure, we're with approach, all the way. It's nice to have a real-world flight to sort of shadow and give you that immersion effect. So for us today, it is Delta 704. It just happens to be taking off right when we are, so we're going with him. Transponder's on. Auto brakes are RTO. Here we go. Look at that beautiful bird. Yeah, for me that does it. That's the livery that gets me. It's the silver bullet with the red tail. The stubby 7.2, the original 727-100. Runway's clear. We're lit up. Takeoff checks complete. Transponders on.
Delta 704, and he wants to climb clear for takeoff 5.0 heavy Airbus departure.
Here we go. Clear for takeoff. Throttle's 40%. 3 stable engines.
Clear to land, 16 right, that's 2101.
Takeoff power. This is where you want to look for the EPR.
knots.
80 knots, check.
Sterling 396 with the approach, sync for 16 right.
Positive route. Gear up.
Excuse me, American 1213, turning 1 left on a point, traffic 13 miles per hour.
There's 1,000 feet. You start to pitch down and accelerate.
Please take the plane for the Sentinel Civic several minutes.
200 knots. We're flaps 5. We're going to light takeoff.
I'll probably take you out to the Delta just for money, but I'll let you know later.
So climb thrust. If you're heavy, go to about 90 on the N1. 90% N1.
704, get it.
Going departure. So now we're switching the radio
35, 40.
Okay,
over
climbing 9,000
to Seattle departure.
704, and we're passing 3,000 now.
Beautiful wing view. Breaking through the clouds. A lovely evening. Departing Seattle for Portland, Oregon. The greatest little city in the world.
$127.05, UPS 983 heavy today.
We got the flaps up. Accelerating to 250. Go ahead and turn the old no smoke sign off. The landing lights off. The outboards. Turn the wing light off. Auto brakes disarmed. Make sure the transponder's squawking what we should be. Got the climb thrust set. Flight director onto heading. Flying the standard Seattle departure. Just tracking the Seattle Vortex off the 161 radial.
Climb to 15,000, Delta 704.
There's clearance to 15. We're not going to follow on that specifically. A beautiful sunset. After takeoff checks, start switches are go.
Left turn, direct Normie, American 1213.
Seatbelt, anti-ice, gear, flaps, auto pack, hydros, pressure. Just want to make sure everything's functioning normally. So we look back on Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, flying south, headed for Portland. Beautiful Northwest night.
2705, Delta 704, see you.
There's Delta 704 going to center, and that's where we lose the real radio communications. Seattle Center was down on this particular evening. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. It is what it is. It's liveatc.net, and not every frequency is always up. So and here we are. The best time for FlyJsim, the climb out. This, just like it would be in the late 70s, early 80s, before they retired the 727, 100. They flew the 200 all the way until, like, I don't know, 2003 or whatever. This right here, this is what FlyJsim is all about. Climbing out, enjoying the view. Hopefully everything's running right. FlyJsim has come a long way since the 1990s. Beautiful, beautiful views. Got some interesting in-flight entertainment coming up for FlyJsim Time Machine Episode 2. Get an old War Department film from the late 40s. Scaring you to death with the communist threat. Some black and white war footage, war film, Office of Propaganda, War Ministry. All about the strategic importance of the Pacific Northwest. How vital it is to over-the-pole flight routes, especially from Russia. The mysteries of the Arctic. Coming up on 17,000. We forgot to arm the altitude, so we're just going to go up to 19. And say, whoops. In the real world, that we'd be in big trouble. In the simulator, who cares? You always want to try to get above 18 whenever possible anyway. In a jet. It's not like we're flying a Dash 8 or something. So, no big deal. We'll go up to 19,000. We'll reset the altimeters to 2992, as you do when you go through 18,000. And enjoy the evening. Reminisce of the golden days of aviation. Treated like a king. Lobster and steak, smoking on the plane, free booze, champagne. It wasn't that long ago that this wasn't possible. It was less than 100 years ago. People were still riding trains around and taking horses. It took 6 weeks to go anywhere. Get a nice smooth climb out. We'll go ahead and turn off the seatbelt sign and have some in-flight entertainment. Sit back and enjoy. A good old war film.
On June 16, 1937, a strange plane rose out of the Arctic Circle and landed on the banks of an American river. The river was the Columbia, the place, the northwest corner of America. It was a fine, exciting day. That plane came from Moscow, and these men were neighbors who dropped in from the sky. Brave men in civilian clothes, who said it was easy, natural to fly from the other side of the world, Moscow to the Columbia River, non-stop. Why didn't the Russians stop at Boston first, at New York, or Chicago? Because they came this way, far north of all these cities. They flew along a circle, across the white and frozen top of the world. Which is the shorter, curved line or a straight line? A straight line, but only if the world is flat. For a flat world, this old-fashioned map is perfect. But the world is round, so let's change to a round plan. Now we see the Earth as if from a plane flying very high. Now the straight line becomes curved, and the circle, the way the Russians came, is seen to be straight and short. So the Northwest becomes a kind of a crossroads of the air, and a place of importance to the whole world. It holds great trade routes together. The Northwest to East Asia, the Northwest to Latin America, the Northwest to Europe, the Northwest to Australia. Here's a new kind of world, air-thronged, air-encircled, with no barriers but storms, with no boundaries but the direction of the wind. The Northwest will be a center of this world. Let's see what it looks like. The face of its mountains, its rapids, lakes, and rivers. The shape of its cities, the shape of the states that were formed inside of it. Washington, the name of America's hero and first president. The two states in the tongue of the Indian, Oregon, Idaho. 3 states, 400,000 square miles. North, a frontier without bayonets, Canada and British Columbia. And west, an
So
ocean.
brief the Helen's 6 arrival. This is the old school arrival you'd get if you're flying slant alpha. Just tracking the Vortec in, over to Helen's, then to the battleground Vortec,
Here, the west wind
crossing
moves,
Crater.
and the heavy Pacific
Even in black
moves
and white,
lips
look at how
against
awesome
the
that
granite
looks.
of the Northwest. The noise
It's
of
pretty
the
amazing.
ocean, the silence of
Even
the
in black and white, it really
are the
just
same
is like,
today
oh,
as
it's
they were
majestic.
when the first man looked at this continent. The air is still bright and clear, ice cold and exciting. It's a young country, and the people who live here feel it. They enjoy the snow, the swiftness of the mountain. They enjoy the summer of the inland lakes.
The summer back then must have been like paradise. The clear air.
The run of water sounds in their memory, and the great sound of the Columbia River.
The summer in Portland now, it's like 100 degrees every day.
Children will look up in the sky, at planes without bomb bays or guns, flying every hour to Moscow over the North Pole, flying to Iraq and London and Valparaiso, and drawing the straight circles on the geography of the air. And there will be ships that carry nothing but wonderful fruit. Come on, child of the Northwest. There's work to do.
I see a lot of hipster goth girls kind of rocking that Rosie the Riveter look. Yeah, so there you go, 1945. Office of War Information. Ministry of Propaganda. For the
The
good
Northwest
guys.
spirit of superior customer service is the cornerstone of our business, as well as a source of personal pride and professionalism.
Basically, everyone tries to handle everyone else's bag as they would want someone else to handle their bag. You know, sort of like do unto others as you'd have them do to you, actually.
Way of handling people hasn't changed. You still have to use the same tactics that we used years ago. And a good agent or customer service employee has to be one that is able to maintain a helpful attitude towards the one that you're dealing with.
Rude, unhappy,
The Northwest
snippety
spirit is one of
customers.
teamwork, of reaching goals that one person alone couldn't hope to accomplish.
The customer is extremely important, and we all have to help in that.
The passenger is the most important aspect of the industry, of our company, and that's who we have to provide satisfaction for. We can't do that working as an individual. We have to do it together. Each person has to work together to make sure that that passenger gets complete satisfaction.
Complete and total satisfaction.
When all the team elements are in place, you can't beat Northwest anywhere.
Northwest's commitment is to our people, as well as our customers.
Look at that computer. That was how it was, you know? That was a promo film from like, whatever, 92 or something. But this is how, the 60s, that was the glory era. This is a look back in time to what flying was like on the inside of the plane. Luxury jumbo jets with full bands. Supermodel air hostesses. Champagne and caviar. Lobster and steak.
Portland into information Zulu.
Those were the days.
000 Zulu weather. Line 230 at 5. Visibility more than 10. Rain. Sky conditions 4,800. Broken. 6,800. Broken. 9,400.
Departure rate
overcast.
2268,
Temperature rate
1,700, climb to
2.4. Altimeter 2995. Arriving runway.
Within 2268, final departure, radar contact, climb maintain, 15,000.
Departing runways 28 right, 28 left, 03. Advise on initial contact, you have Zulu.
So there you have it. Weather in Portland, not that good. Kind of crappy. Rain, windy. Not warm, but not quite freezing, so we'll shoot for anti-ice off, normal approach.
Southwest 1106, final departure, radar contact, climb maintain, 15,000.
We'll add 10 knots to the VRIF. We're pretty light. We could do a flaps 15 landing, but we'll go flaps 30 just to
Rise in 2268, turn right to Craig, resume navigation.
try to do a normal procedure. Whenever possible, you want to go flaps 30 in the 727. Flaps 40, really, you need a lot of thrust. You need a lot of... you got to be real heavy and have a real short runway to justify flaps 40. Flaps 15 is great in the wind, and you don't need to add that much speed.
Was 1106, turn left right Herman, resume navigation. Southwest 1106.
Departure Alaska 450 is 1.8, climbs to 7 off of 11.6.
Alaska 450, Portland departure, radar contact, climb maintain, 15,000.
I've been maintaining 15,000, Alaska 450.
So there's the lights of Portland up ahead there in the distance.
2268, contact Seattle Center 128.3.
We're tuned to Portland approach. We're coming down through 11,000 on the Helen 6 arrival. We're planning for 28 left. We're going to initially go for 28 right and then switch over to 28 left. Why? Because why not?
That was 1106, contact Seattle Center 125.8.
1106,
good day.
Right over the battleground vortex, that's when you make the left turn.
450 area, moderate precipitation, 12 to 1 o'clock and 10 miles, beginning for the next. Looks like 15 miles, no right clean.
We're a little bit high. The 727 does not like to descend. At least, let me say this.
Contact Seattle Center 119.65.
Alaska 450, have a good night.
The FlyJsim 727 does not like to descend. Now, how accurate their flight model is versus the Captain Sim versus any other 727s out there in flight simulators, I don't know.
Our 700 Portland approach, plan the Boxer 4 arrival, clear direct Portland, to maintain 3000. American 1736, to maintain 5,300.
5,300, American 1736.
Mexico 496, contact tower 123.77, good night.
123.77 out of Mexico 496, here.
Air 700, Roger, IFR cancellation is received, maintain VFR, proceed to Portland, be the Boxer 4.
Departure in 2009, 16 for 6,000.
As in 2009, Portland departure radar contact, climb maintain 15,000.
Climbing 15,000 in 2009.
In 2009, turn left at Kukas, resume navigation.
Okay, left direct Kukas on Everest in 2009. Approach out of Mexico 496.
We're gonna have a wet runway.
Yeah, the hood 4 with information call.
Even though we're late, we'll go to medium auto brakes.
Expect runway 28 right.
Expecting 28 right out of Mexico 496.
Breaking out of the clouds here. Oh, there we go. That's my jam right there.
71,600, climbing 6,000. Runway.
Look at that beautiful airplane. Oh.
2470, Portland departure radar contact, climb maintain 15,000.
15,000, horizon 2470.
The artiste who painted these Northwest liveries is a real hero in my book. They nailed it. The silver, the reflections, the color of the red tail. I mean, it's just perfect. So the slat's coming down. We'll get out flaps 5, slow down to 210. We're looking for World Traffic 3.
Over information, Charlie.
Traffic. We're arming the speed brakes. We're setting the auto brakes. It's real easy to get too slow when you're flying, when you're hand flying, or when you're manual thrust with a very basic Sperry type autopilot like what we have here. The autopilot just holds heading and altitude. There's no auto thrust, so no auto throttles. Here, we turn final a little too soon.
2470, turn right direct Craig, resume navigation.
So we just square off the base a little more.
2470. Air Mexico 496, clear direct OMZ, join the 28 right localizer, going to maintain 7,000.
Direct OMZ to intercept the localizer and descend to 7,000 out of Mexico 496.
Kind of landing into the sunset. Broken on and off rain. We got fairly good visibility. We got the river. We got Troutdale. We're on a right base right now for 28 right. We're going to jog over to 28 left.
Tower American 1736 on the RLS 2 left.
American 1736, Poland Tower, good evening, wind 180 at 13, runway 28 left for the land.
For land on 28 left, American 1736.
So, that's kind of like us, American 1736. He's on final, we're on final. We're sort of shadowing him. The winds are 18013. We're landing.
Southwest 1150, turn right on Echo, kind of ground point enter.
28 left.
Right on Echo, ground point enter.
So that is a vicious 13 knot, 90 degree crosswind. Coming left or right.
JetBlue 1206 Poland Tower, fighting 280, wind 18013, runway 28 left, clear for takeoff.
Gear down, landing checks.
28 left, clear for takeoff, JetBlue 1206.
There's 28 right. There's the Glen Jackson Bridge, 205. No smoke is on. Gears down 3 green. Flaps are set for landing. Hydros are good. And we're going to jog over to 28 left. We're way too fast. We're way too high. The good news about the 7.2 is once you get those flaps out, man, the thing drops like a brick. So that's why you don't want to go too early with the gear and the flaps. I like about 7 miles. In the 100, you can even go to like 5 miles. If you know what you're doing and you've got enough runway and vice versa. But here we are jogging over 28 left, very short final. Last bits of flaps coming in, double checking the V card. This is way too late to be doing this, by the way, but we're looking at flaps 30, 119. So we got to add about 10 knots for that nasty crosswind. We'll go flaps 30, 127 we'll call it. Maybe 130. That'll be over the numbers, and that'll be a real floater. So,
sink rate. Sink rate.
Finally coming back in line with a normal glide slope. Fighting those crosswinds.
400. 300.
Here we're sort of stabilized.
Minimums. 200.
We're way too slow.
Southwest 1150, Poland Tower, wind 18012, runway 28 left, clear to land.
Good land, 28 left, Southwest 1150.
40. 30. 20.
Should have pulled the throttles there.
10.
Floater, all day floater, still floating. When will we stop? Oh my goodness. There we go. Nice, easy nose gear touchdown. Get the reversers out. Reverse thrust. Doesn't look like it, but it is a wet runway, so the braking action is going to be impaired. 60 knots. Reversers clear.
American 1736, turn right on Echo, kind of ground point niner.
Right on Echo, ground point niner.
Echo, ground point 9, American 1736.
And there we go. Welcome to Portland. Rainy winter night. Just above freezing. Let's see a replay. A messy, horrible short approach. You always seem to catch a little drop at the end with 7.2. Need a little bit of throttle right at the end, just a touch. When you're light, the thing floats like a feather for days. When you're heavy, it just drops like a brick. You won't even get the throttles down. You'll hit the ground full power and be like, what the hell happened? I'm doing this as
American 1738, 1736 for Charlie 17. American 1736, parking outside Park via Echo 3 and Tango.
Echo Tango.
3 Tango, American 1736 with you.
So, that's Portland ground. We're cleared to taxi to the gate. Get the landing lights off. We'll do our after landing checks. I'm doing this in prep for a very special episode of FlyJsim Time Machine, which will be the next episode, episode 3. It's going to be all about DB Cooper. We're going to recreate the DB Cooper, infamous DB Cooper flight, which is the same exact aircraft in the same exact livery, because it seems like the world is fascinated with that case and it being part of Portland history. They landed with the rear stairwell. They landed with it down at like 200 knots. They flew all the way to Reno and landed with the stairway down. Unbelievable. This is the free ware, Mr. X, Portland International. Beautiful representation, rendering. We're gonna park where Northwest would have parked back in the 90s.
2417 on the right, taxi via Kilo Alpha 5 and Alpha.
There's no windows.
Alpha 5, Alpha United 2417.
In this part of the Portland terminal, this is the D concourse at the end. There's no windows at all. This used to be that was the old smoking section before they outlawed smoking. You always want to kill your taxi lights so you don't blind the marshaller. We're coming in a little fast here. It always wants to put you too far right. So try to get it a little left of center. Especially in a small aircraft. The gate just doesn't seem to go. I'd rather have the gate intruding and overlapping the aircraft than having that gap, that separation. Alright, parking brake is on. We'll shut her down. Seatbelts are off. Flight attendants prepare for cross-check arrival.
150, ground and stay gating. Charlie 60.
Do the quick version. That's the APU. You start the APU after you land as you're taxiing to the gate, then you click it on bus when you hit the parking brake. Do that before you kill the power to the engines, and you kill the fuel levers. That's when the autogate, if you have the autogate plug-in, you should by now, but marginal, the beautiful autogate plug-in. That'll trigger the gate to come to you, so the key sequence there is set the parking brake, then turn the engines off, and that triggers the gate. Forgot to turn the beacon light off, we'll go ahead and go back in the aircraft, and turn the beacon light off, run the shutdown checks. Got the seatbelts off, the beacon's off, exterior lights, just got the logo and navs on. Start levers cut off. Parking brakes are set. Electrical is APU's on bus. Fuel pumps are off. Hydros, B pumps are off. Weather radar's off. Standby. Transponder's off. Welcome to Portland.
Ground JetBlue 1206, ready for taxi.
1206, the Air Mexico is headed to your right. Now pulling the gate D12. Behind him, runway 28 left, taxi Tango Bravo 4 Bravo.
Tango Bravo 4 Bravo behind Aeromexico, JetBlue 1206.
This is a flight Northwest would have done like in the 70s. They would fly this aircraft between Seattle and Portland. Beautiful night in Portland. You could look at the aircraft here. Sitting at the gate. Do deplane. Get rid of our passengers and cargo. Just enjoy the view. you're out there running an iMac, trying to run XP11 on your iMac, I feel ya. Good luck. As we come into downtown Portland, the beautiful XP11 night lighting. That's why everybody flies XP11. I'd like to thank you for watching this episode 2 of FlyJsim Time Machine. Also, the intro to the FlyJsim for iMac series, XP11 on iMac. Thanks for watching.